within 2 seconds of that radio call, I just saw Tyler come through my windshield, like basically climbing on a trajectory and past. It was closer than I liked, having not seen him. If we were closer, that would have been almost guaranteed dual fatal. Really quick, this safety debrief is brought to you by my friends over at Squarespace. Squarespace is the ultimate way to build a website and run your business. You can start with one of their award-winning templates crafted into your own, or you can harness the power of artificial intelligence using Design AI and design a website from scratch with zero experience necessary in a matter of minutes. And they have features for every industry, so it doesn't matter what you're trying to do with a website, you can do it with Squarespace. Everything from online stores, they accept payments from every major payment platform. You can even book and schedule your clients with Acuity scheduling. So if you're looking to build a website, head over to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to purchase, make sure you use code Trent Palmer at checkout. That'll get you 10% off. With that, let's get into this little debrief. All right, guys, I wanted to sit down and tell you a little story about what happened a few days ago. I basically had a near miss to a midair that was the closest I've ever been to another aircraft in the air, and it rattled me pretty good. Probably the closest I've been to dying too. I kind of contemplated if it was worth making this video, but you know, there was a lot of takeaways that I took from this that I think are pretty good. It was a good wake-up call for me, and I think by going through a debrief of this, hopefully you guys can take something away from it too. So basically, just to get into it, I was testing a new camera system out on the wing of my plane. It's one that my friends Tristan Trisselman and Chris Kunkel have been messing with. Some of you guys probably saw some of the footage in my Moab video. Awesome air-to-air stuff. And the way it's set up, there's a way that you can actually, as the pilot, have a monitor up in the front. You're able to pan and tilt the camera and set up what they call active track and track another aircraft. And that way you can just focus on flying and the camera will do the rest of the work autonomously. So you don't really have to do everything all at once. And the day that I was out testing it, met up with a couple friends. Originally it was just one friend that I linked up with, and then everyone was out flying and we ended up congregating, and we had landed at this meadow. At this point it was Ryan, my friend, Kevin Quinn, as well as my friend Tyler. So there's 4 of us. And we had a little brief that we were going to head over to a different spot on the other side of the lake we were flying around, and we were gonna film on the way over there. So when we got in the air, I linked up with Ryan and started filming him, and then got a couple shots and then said, hey Quinn, why don't you jump in as number 2 on his left side and get in there for some formation shots. Got a couple shots. Did the same thing with Tyler and said, hey, Tyler, jump in there. Now, Tyler's a newer pilot. I mean, he's a very proficient pilot and flies really well, but doesn't have a ton of formation time. So when he got in there, he was a little looser than, I was kind of hoping. So in that moment when we were filming over the lake, what I did was I kind of watched as Tyler, kind of kept his own spacing that he was comfortable with. And then I decided to focus on number 1 and 2, being Ryan and Quinn. My thought at the moment was I'm gonna deconflict by altitude. So I climbed up a little higher and then moved in on them a bit so I could kind of get a more of a top-down shot of the 2 planes over the lake. We started getting closer to where we were gonna go land, and that actually came up way faster than I expected. And as we got there, Quinn said, hey, I'm gonna make a left base and go into land. Now, Quinn was number 2 in the formation, not number 1. I wanted to film the landing, so I said, okay, I'm gonna film that landing. Ryan, I want you to just continue west. Tyler, you follow Ryan. I'm on Quinn now, we're separate groups. And at that point, I realized, I'm like, I haven't seen Tyler, where's Tyler? And I get on the radio, I said, hey, Tyler, do you have visual of me? I lost you. And within 2 seconds of that radio call, I just saw Tyler come through my windshield, like basically climbing on a trajectory and past, I don't know, in the moment I remember saying 15 or 20 feet, maybe it was farther, but it was closer than I liked, having not seen him. And it was one of those things that if we were closer, that would have been almost guaranteed dual fatal. It was something that when it happened too, obviously it rattled me. So I got on the radio and said, everyone knock it off. This is the order, everyone go in and land, and then we're gonna debrief. We had a pretty healthy debrief, and it was awesome seeing that, with our group, and this is probably part of what I think this discussion should be, is that, I'm not professionally or formally trained in formation flying. That said, I've been flying formation with, aerobatic and military pilots for the past decade. I've got a lot of experience with it, but no formal training. We did the right stuff. We briefed ahead of time. For the most part, all of us were pretty experienced. I was understanding that Tyler was less experienced, and that was on me to accommodate and adjust for. During the debrief, Quinn mentioned he probably shouldn't have jumped in to go land, by breaking order and all that, because that was kind of a left field thing. And then obviously there was the thought in my head that, Tyler wasn't where I expected him to be. If he had just kept tight formation, then this wouldn't have happened. But at the end of the day, the fault comes down to me, because I was number 4 in this group, and it is my job as number 4 and the last guy to deconflict with everyone else. And, looking back, I guess what should have happened is that I should have mentioned immediately when I lost visual of Tyler. I should have called blind. I should have told my altitude and figured out how I could deconflict based on where I knew his last altitude was. And I didn't do that. And, part of it probably was a bit of task saturation. Having that monitor up front and being involved in shooting this video while shooting formation, and then just so many moving parts, it definitely, contributed. Also, I don't know if you can hear it, I've been fighting a cold for the past few days, and the day that this happened was probably the first day I started feeling any symptoms. So there's maybe a chance that I was, maybe not thinking and running at, full speed. So there was a few contributing factors, but coming full circle, all of the things were avoidable. And that's why I wanted to make this video, to kind of explain the things that I did wrong, and in hopes that other people can understand that, I've spent so much time flying formation with friends, and you guys see it all the time in my videos, that I think it can be taken as though it's something we don't take seriously, but it definitely is something we do. However, this last little, near miss was enlightening that there's definitely more that can be done to ensure that we can do it safely, and that complacency is a real thing. I'm not going to say I was completely complacent, but obviously I let my guard down enough that it got to where it was almost, a fatal situation. So complacency probably played as well. I did talk to a couple of my friends that are military pilots, and they broke it down how the military would. And some of the things they were talking about, they break down problems to perception, decision, or execution errors. And this one to me could have been a perception error, because I, didn't have the perception of where Tyler was going to be, and the execution that we didn't have the proper plan in place for separating essentially one mission, which was the shot of formation over the lake, to the next mission, which was going to be filming the landing. And in between those, there probably should have been some sort of, deconfliction or rejoin maneuver that we did going into there, and we didn't do that. So basically what happened when we stacked the two against each other, and there was this crazy reorder and adjustment, just way too many variables. Obviously, task saturation, with me misprioritizing the camera over flight safety, which was, again, a huge bonehead move on my part. So yeah, the fixes I am going to do moving forward, because that's the clear takeaway for this. For one, I think my spidey senses are going to be up for a good bit after this. It rattled me more than I thought it would at first. I struggled sleeping that first night, because I kind of just went over repeat. Man, if I was 15 feet closer, Haley'd be going to bed alone tonight. And how does that, even thinking like Tyler's got a new plane on order that, he's looking forward to, and he's got a girlfriend at home, and just all those things that you think of the ripple effect of what could have happened if things were just a little different. It's heavy. So definitely me having a stronger spidey sense, and having my head on a swivel better, understanding that even losing visual on another plane you're flying with, even for a second, needs to be notified, call blind, figure out a way to deconflict. And with these filming mission things, again, the task saturation's real. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not gonna, continue to film for my plane, because that truly is a passion of mine, but I'm gonna take a much more safety-oriented approach. And for the most part, if I'm using the camera system I've been playing with, my plan is to shoot one plane at a time, because it's much easier to deconflict and maintain separation when there's one lead plane, one follow plane, and as the camera ship, you could be following, be number 2, and then if you overtake, it's a very easy handoff of orders. So there's ways to deconflict in that, and I guess if there ever was a time that I was going to do formation of multiple planes, it would be a smaller group, you know, have two and have people that are very comfortable in formation, just so we can alleviate any variables and risks. Anyway, that is the long-winded story and debrief of my near miss that rattled me more than anything has in the last 11 years of flying. Knowing I'm putting myself at risk for critique from you guys, which you're fully entitled to critique me on this one. I screwed up. It was definitely my bad on this one, so I need to follow my sword for that, and I just want to at least put it out there so that hopefully other people can kind of learn from the mistake I made and hopefully not make that same one themselves. With that, we're going to get back to flying on the next one, but you guys know the drill. Like this video if you do. Subscribe if you haven't. Come be my wingman. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
But she's trying to be better about taking for granted how her friends know how to make her laugh, and finding pictures of her dad. She'll keep dreaming about the one. He's a planet, not a sun, 'cause whether he's a